news. It is a big day. Voters in 4 states are heading to the polls today. Michigan is the big prize, of course, because there are a lot of delegates up for grabs here. There are 59 delegates.
A brand new poll has Donald Trump in the lead, with John Kasich closing in behind. The Ohio governor has managed to close the gap by 16% in just a couple of days. Can John Kasich really catch Trump? Let's ask Donald Trump himself, who joins us right now on the phone. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, they do like me in Michigan, I have to say, and I like them, so let's see what happens.
Well, what do you think is going on with John Kasich closing in?
Well, I think Rubio is really failing badly. He's been a terrible senator. He doesn't show up to vote, and he's got some big problems, as you have probably heard. And, you know, a lot of people think he's dropping out of the race, so I think that probably helps Kasich a little bit. But Rubio is really sinking rapidly, so we'll see what happens.
From what I'm getting, as I'm reading articles about why you're doing so well in Michigan, factories are gone now. Everyday items are now being made overseas. People really like the fact that you want to implement a 35% tariff on cars that are made down in Mexico, and you want to bring jobs back. And voters are saying they historically have voted Democrat, but they're voting for you. What are you hearing in that state? How do you plan on bringing those jobs back?
Well, that's really what I'm hearing. I'm going to bring them back, and we're not going to let them go in the first place because, you know, Mexico's taking Ford. You see $2.5 billion plant, and they're taking a lot of other companies, and Mexico's becoming the new China, and so many car companies are moving there, and they're making cars all over the place. And, frankly, Michigan is the state that's getting killed, and I think that's why I seem to do so well in the polls. I'm not going to let it happen.
But how do you plan on bringing those jobs back to that state?
Well, I'm going to bring them back by, look, when Ford builds a plant and then they sell their cars with no tax whatsoever, just like we're a bunch of foolish people. I want to say a stronger word, but I refuse to. But we're like foolish people. We just take their cars and we take their trucks and parts, no tax, no nothing. What do we get? We get nothing. Mexico gets 100%. They get everything. Their negotiators are much better. Their leaders are much smarter. And we end up with nothing except unemployment. We're not going to let it happen. So if they're going to do that, we have to impose a tax on the car company that moves out so that when they sell cars into the United States, there's a tax. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to say, we're going to build in the United States. Ideally, they're going to build in Michigan. And I've had so many rallies in Michigan. They've been unbelievable rallies, and you know, thousands, tens of thousands of people, and standing ovations. So, you know, they know I'm right, and we will keep the car industry in Michigan, and we're going to bring car companies back to Michigan.
All right, let me bring you to a story in the Washington Post today. I know you are on top of the media, and you know that there was a meeting with the RGA at Park City, Utah, and another one with conservative policy, a conservative policy meeting in Sea Island, and both themes were about you and basically how to stop you. And one thing they're going to do is try to focus on getting others to win in Florida, Illinois, as well as Ohio, and, you know, Kasich, of course, Rubio with the best chance in Florida, and Illinois, I guess, possibly Kasich or Cruz. What's your reaction to the plotting and planning behind the scenes?
Well, they are trying, and they're spending millions of dollars, but I have a tremendous following. It's, you know, make America great again. These people, they just want their jobs. They want to have, I mean, it's crazy what's going on. I've never seen anything. You know, Brian, because you reported on it yesterday, millions of people are coming to Republican primaries that never came before. Some of them are up 50, 60, 70%. One primary was up 102%. And this has never happened before. It's like the biggest story in all of politics for decades. And, you know, that's what's happening. There's life now in the Republican Party.
Does this tick you off, though, Mr. Trump?
Yeah, it does. It bothers me in the sense that it's really not fair. It's unfair to the people. You know, I have millions and millions of people that agree. And we're like partners in this whole thing. And it's a quest to make America great again and make America smart again and make it so that Michigan doesn't lose its car industry and that other states don't lose their industries, whatever they may be. I mean, we're losing our jobs. We're losing everything. We don't win anymore as a country. We don't win with ISIS. We can't beat ISIS. Our military doesn't win. Our health care is terrible. Obamacare, we're going to repeal it and replace it. Our education, Common Core, is a disaster. We're going to go local now. We're not going to, you know, we have education through bureaucrats in Washington, and we're ranked very low in the totem pole worldwide, and so many things like this. And, you know, look, the bottom line is they couldn't beat Obama. The establishment has tried. Romney is a disaster, one of the worst campaigns ever run. Couldn't beat Obama twice. Now I think people are tired of it, and they want to
Okay.
Go with Trump.
Meanwhile, there's a story out today that apparently the Speaker of the House, and he certainly is one of the top party operatives, Paul Ryan, called you and called Ted Cruz as well to brief you on the House Republican efforts for what they want to do during the election year. Could you tell us a little bit about the conversation?
Well, we had a good call. He called, and we had a very good call, and he's a good man. I mean, somebody I liked, I've always liked. And we had a very good conversation. Basically, it was a friendly call.
All right, let's go down to the state of Florida, because next week you're going to be down there. It's a big race. A lot of people are eyeing that because it's a winner-take-all state. Rubio's from that state, and I know that there's some attack ads against Rubio. Explain that. Why have you decided to go after him when really Cruz is really neck and neck with you in Florida as well?
Well, I think that Rubio's doing very, very badly in Florida. I think he's doing, he's been a very bad representative in Florida, horrible representative. And Frank, he doesn't vote. He doesn't go to the Senate. The people don't like him there. And I did an ad that is really self-explanatory. It explains the bad job he's done. So we'll see what happens. I mean, that's not for 8 days or 7 days, but we're going to see what happens. But Florida's like my second home. Right. I think we'll do very well there.
He is somewhat closing the gap. Donald, I've been seeing your rallies, and you get a lot of people, but you get a lot of protesters. Are you concerned about the level of violence that's going on in the audience? They seem to be interrupting you at every 5 minutes if you talk for 45. It seems to me to be getting out of control. How do you plan on attacking that, if at all?
Well, it's only a couple of places. Generally speaking, we don't have any protesters, but some places we do. Don't forget, Brian, we have massive crowds. I had 25,000 people, and, I have 25 and 30,000 people showing up to these rallies. And, frankly, we have a great time. We do have on occasion protesters, but there's nothing violent or anything. Nobody gets hurt, and it's really worked out very well. We really have very few protests.
Well, I heard one soundbite. Somebody in the crowd, I believe it was yesterday, you told him to go back to mommy. Did he go back to his mom? Just curious.
I don't know, but I did say that. I said, go back to mom. And the place laughed. And, look, they're very nonviolent, that I can tell you.
All right. There's another story that I saw, I think it was on Drudge this morning. Foreign diplomats alarmed about you. They don't like some of the statements you've said. Which is unusual because usually diplomats are really diplomatic. It looks like you're having an impact internationally.
Well, that's because every country is ripping us off in trade and other things. And they know that won't happen with me. I'm going to bring trade back. I'm going to bring our jobs back. Like Mexico as an example. I mean, they're killing us at the border, and they're also killing us with respect to trade. I'm bringing it all back. And obviously they're not that happy about it. And they do complain about it. I have very good relationships with these countries, but they're not exactly thrilled because they don't want to give up. I mean, they treat us like babies. They take our jobs. They take our money. They take our base. Right. And with me, that's not going to happen. So, I can understand why they wouldn't be happy.
Quick thing about where you're at with delegates right now. If you are leading but don't get to 1,200, do you think it's wrong to have a contested convention?
Yeah, I sort of do. I think the people that, whoever's leading at the end should sort of get it. I would think so. That's the way democracy works. And I don't know that that's going to happen, but I'll tell you there'll be a lot of people that will be very upset if that doesn't happen because we have really fervent, wonderful people. And I think that would be pretty unfair.
Well, you got a big day. Thank you very much, Donald Trump, for joining us. We'll be watching. I'm sure you're going to have a press conference
Michigan,
tonight around 9 o'clock.
Hawaii.
Thanks, sir.
Very good. That's true. Have a good time. Thank you very much.